My response to Geraldo Rivera's comments, on-air comments about the Trayvon Martin incident. This is my first time ever posting a YouTube video, but this is something that I just simply couldn't ignore. Your position is that Trayvon Martin is to be blamed for his own death in that by wearing a hoodie, he brought the entire incident upon himself. Your statement said that if Trayvon had not been wearing that hoodie, that he might be alive today. Okay, so my first point is this. It is not Trayvon Martin's nor anyone else's responsibility to dress to make George Zimmerman or anyone else feel comfortable. As a journalist, I would hope that before going on the air and commenting on an issue that you took the time to gather at least some of the facts, such as the fact that George Zimmerman had made over 46, at least 46 calls to 911, and many of those calls were about suspicious black males. Not black males with hoodies, but black males. So for George Zimmerman, it wasn't a black hoodie that made Trayvon Martin suspicious. It was simply the fact that he was black. There's nothing that Trayvon could have done about that fact. Do you understand that Trayvon Martin ran from George Zimmerman? Do you understand that this whole incident is not about Trayvon Martin wearing a hoodie and looking menacing? Do you know that the facts of this incident show that George Zimmerman pursued and then confronted Trayvon? And from all of that, you can say that Trayvon is to be blamed for this whole thing because he was wearing a hoodie. I apologize for using this word, but nobody can be that stupid. Now, about the hoodie itself, the reality of the matter is that it's actually a hooded sweatshirt. They've been around for a long time. They've been fairly popular. A lot of school age athletes wear them, athletes like Trayvon. I remember as a kid having a few hooded sweatshirts, and guess what I did when it was I was wearing my hooded sweatshirt and it started to rain? I put the hood on. You see, that's the kind of parents that Trayvon Martin had. Parents that taught him to have enough common sense to put something on his head when it was raining. But apparently you believe that as a black male, they should have taught him to walk in the rain bareheaded so that he would not appear menacing to anyone and therefore not be killed. From everything that I've seen of Trayvon Martin's parents, they've raised their son to be an ideal young man. This young man was the son of that many people wish they had. Even the president says that if he had a son, he would look like Trayvon. That's not just physically, but I believe that he meant in character also. Now, even after having some time to reflect on your statement, you insist that you're standing by what you said. And I understand that even your son has stated that he was embarrassed over what you said. But this is how I interpret what you said to the parents of Trayvon Martin. You are responsible for your son's death because you bought him that hoodie. To the parents of every other black and Hispanic youth, if your child gets killed while wearing a hoodie, never mind the circumstances, it's your fault. To say that because of my skin is dark that I cannot wear a hooded sweatshirt because someone might be afraid of me and out of their own fear they might kill me and it would be my fault is one of the most irresponsible and insensitive statements that I've ever heard a so-called journalist make, not to mention just plain stupid. Here is how your statement how is your statement any different from saying that if I'm carjacked it's my fault for having a car that somebody else might want. Or if my home is broken into, it's my fault for having nice items in my home that somebody else might want. You're supposed to be a journalist, and although you're entitled to your own opinion, do you understand that some things are just best left unsaid? Even if you felt the way you do, it was cruel and extremely insensitive to allege that Trayvon's parents are partially at fault for allowing their son to wear a hoodie. The parents of Trayvon are grieving over the loss of their son, and not just the loss of their son, but of the fact that the person responsible for his death is not being held accountable. But rather than focusing on the real issue here, you say that you have a different take on this issue. You make the lack of prosecution of George Zimmerman a secondary issue and focus on the fact that if Trayvon had not been wearing a hoodie, he might still be alive today. You spent about 30 seconds acknowledging that Zimmerman should be held accountable for what he did, and then you went on for over 2 minutes alleging that Trayvon was responsible for his own death. You owe the parents of Trayvon Martin an apology, and not just an on-air apology, but you need to reach out and ask them if you can meet with them and apologize to them face to face. You owe every black and Hispanic parent whose child owns a hooded sweatshirt an apology. How in the world does a noted journalist openly say that only blacks and Hispanics cannot wear a hoodie, but if a white person wears one, that's not a problem? Seriously, are you serious? And just as the police chief of Sanford, Florida is being held accountable and responsible for the inept homicide investigation that his officers did, I hold Fox Network responsible for the comments of their employees that they make on the air. I'm therefore asking everyone that sees this video to boycott the entire Fox Network and every advertiser of their station. Boycotting can sometimes be a hardship on the individuals engaging in that boycott, just as it was for the supporters of the Montgomery bus boycott, but sometimes we just have to do what's right. The tragic and senseless killing of Trayvon Martin is bad enough. The fact that petitions, rallies, and protests have to take place just to get the justice that we thought was the standard for this country is bad enough. But you add to that insult and insensitivity to the grief that Trayvon's family and friends are already dealing with this is just totally unacceptable. To the Fox Network and their advertisers, as long as you deem the statements and comments of Geraldo Rivera to be acceptable, I am boycotting any and all advertisers of the entire Fox Network. Please share this video with others. Boycott the Fox Network and any advertiser that refuses to pull their ads from the Fox Network. We can make a change. It takes each and every one of us. This is ridiculous and it cannot continue. Thank you very much.